Good morning, everybody, and welcome to Invisible Condition. It's not all in your head. I'm your host, Jeff Pearson, and we want everybody with an invisible condition, no matter what that is, to know beyond the shadow of a doubt that you do have a voice, you have a community, and you are never alone. And to that end, I am excited to introduce you to Kim Hindery. Kim's my guest today, and her personal journey of raising kids with unique needs, fuels her passion for commitment to her work. So Kim is an advocate with 18 plus years of experience supporting children with special healthcare needs, which is so needed, so necessary. As a senior program manager at the Child Neurology Foundation, she designs, educational programs for families and healthcare professionals, fostering comprehensive care and promoting knowledge sharing, because if you keep it to yourself, it doesn't help anybody. Share the knowledge, share it out. Kim believes in making every moment count by leaving a positive impact on the lives of others, which I love. And based near Cincinnati, Ohio, she enjoys reading, volunteering, and spending time with her family. Can't agree with that more. Love that. All right, let's bring Kim on here and get this show on the road here. Kim, thank you so much for being here. This is awesome.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. So, in the intro there, it said unique needs fuels your commit. So, share a little bit about the unique need. Like, is it invisible? Is it an invisible thing? And like, how does it impact life for you guys?
Yeah, all of the above, right? So yes, invisible. And I think, one of the biggest things that we often hear is mental health conditions that are invisible. They don't always show up. They're not always in your face, but they are definitely things that kids and adults alike in the special healthcare community deal with. And so, we here at the Child Neurology Foundation really work to foster a community so that families don't feel like they're all alone dealing with the challenges of raising a child with complex healthcare needs. In my personal case, my daughter has some mental health issues that stem from two rare brain conditions, actually, polymicrogyria and schizencephaly. And so, you can't see those things, but they definitely impact her mood, her behavior, her anxiety, all of those things. And so sometimes people think that she is a typically developing child. And while, she wants to, do things the way that every other child does, there are things that prohibit her from doing that we, can accommodate for her. We can make those things accessible for her if we just have the right accommodation. So in my history, I formerly was a teacher and special education teacher, intervention specialist. And I saw lots of kids who had things like ADHD or autism and a variety of different rare conditions. And so, a lot of times there is this feeling, I think, amongst parents and caregivers that they're alone in this journey because there aren't a lot of other people out there that you can see visibly that have these conditions. And so you do feel alone and isolated, which can lead to your own mental health challenges. So, it's just really important to build that community with others who share those similar struggles and experiences.
Love it. Yeah. And I gotta ask you kind of when you deal with it in your life and it's just everyday, like carry on kind of thing, you blew past those two conditions and you said them so fast. And I'm like, wow, that was like a huge word salad right there that I don't think I even caught. So say those two again and tell us what those are.
Absolutely. So the first one is polymicrogyria, poly meaning many, folds in the brain. So a typical brain has large folds in the brain and the neurons are able to make those connections. Unfortunately for her, she has small folds that can't make those connections. And so that frontal lobe of her brain makes it very challenging. That frontal lobe is responsible for your emotional regulation and decision making there. And so that's a challenge for her. Schizencephaly is, and I'll say that slower, schistoencephaly. It is a cleft in the brain. So, a part that hasn't fully developed. And so, again, that's in that frontal section of her brain, which impacts that mood and that regulation. So, it's still unknown as to why. We're currently going through the whole genome sequencing process right now, and I'm working to get those results, but that is a process, and journey takes a long time to get those diagnoses or trying to figure out the root cause of something. And we may never know, even from the genetic testing, right? But, if there's something else going on, that's obviously going to inform how we approach treatment moving forward.
Yeah, for sure. With that cleft, the cleft in the brain, is that I've heard terms like, trisomy 13, trisomy 19, trisomy, and those kind of things, like the brain isn't fully developing. The brain has this going on, the skull, the whatever. Was any of that? I just purely curious. Like, was any of that brought up during any of that time?
So no, actually, I actually serve on a couple of different clinical trials. And in one of the clinical trials, I had the privilege of talking with a neurologist when I got her MRI results. So I was very right place, right time. And the neurologist said, it really looks like there was an infection when she was in utero, and a blood clot got thrown to that part of her brain, which prohibited it from forming properly. That's speculation. She is adopted. Her birth mom did have a severe kidney infection when she was in utero. So it very well could be from that, but we don't know. So, I think that's the whole piece of things. You kind of are always searching for answers. What was the cause? Is there something that actually caused that other than that infection? Because we'll never know for certain whether that infection impacted the way her brain developed or not, or if it was, something else. And her environment, it could have been. We don't know. Hopefully the genetic testing will give us some results, but or some clue, but we just don't know. And so we're trying to do our due diligence and figuring out, what is the root cause. But for a lot of families, there are a lot of families that go through life not knowing the cause of their illness or their child's illness. And so I think sometimes having that answer is really, really helpful and can really support the mental health of patients. And so I think, it's really important for clinicians and doctors to work with families to find the root cause if they can, because I think there's definitely comfort in knowing the why behind things.
Oh, absolutely. If there is one, right?
There is one. Yeah. Right.
Yep. Exactly. I mean, for me, I was born with hydrocephalus. Nobody in my family, going back generations, nowhere in my family has it ever occurred before. Just me. I'm the fluke. I'm the one that just happened to have, and maybe it's because of the birth process of how I was born. It was emergency C-section. Maybe that had something to do with it. We don't know. We'll never know. But for me, and yes, you're right. Finding out that root is sometimes very valuable. For me, it was more, what do we do now? And are my kids going to be affected? Is this hereditary? It's not. But at the time, we were like, when we got pregnant with our first child, we're like, uh-oh, and so you just gotta, knowledge is good. You want to just find stuff out. So, and also, by the way, anybody watching, I want to address the audience just for a second. If you're watching on Facebook, YouTube, E360 TV, welcome. Thank you. We're so glad you're here. And if you are on YouTube or Facebook, it's really easy to just shoot a comment out there. If you want to talk to Kim, if anything pops up during this episode in the next 45 minutes or so that we have left, and you say, oh man, light bulb, that rings a bell, I want to talk to Kim, I'm going to put her, this QR code will go to the website for the Child Neurology Foundation. And I'm guessing, is that a place where they can reach out to you there?
Absolutely, yes. So there is actually a family support page that is there. You can fill out an assistance request form. If you just want to email me directly, programs@childneurologyfoundation.org is another way that you can contact me. We have a phenomenal family support program. So you just give basic information. We have a social worker on staff. She speaks English and Spanish. She really helps to assist families in getting the everyday care and resources that they need, and also can get them connected to other parents who are walking a similar journey. So within our network at the foundation, we have over 90 advocacy organizations that have come together to provide the support for families and get families connected. So we here at the foundation serve as that hub, that center of connection to the rare disease community. So, if you want to just get connected to another family who's walking a similar journey, reach out, fill out that family support assistance request page. Maybe you're struggling because you lost your job, or you can't keep a job because you're having to care for your child at home. They have epilepsy or whatever it may be. And that's just a real financial strain for you. Let us help you out. We really can help with anything and everything that you could potentially be struggling with. We can help you get connected to those resources that you need. It is free. It is confidential. Our goal really is to just support families and really help families navigate caring for a child with complex healthcare needs.
Love it. That is so cool. And the free and confidential, those are two very cool words you just said right there. So
yes, absolutely. Yeah. Yes. I mean, that's so important, right? We know that our families in our community really, really struggle financially, some of them, because the cost of medical care is so large. It is just getting more and more and more expensive. And so, and we have to pay for things, that the average person doesn't have to pay for. We have braces that my daughter has for her legs, and we have adaptive equipment and things like that. And so it just adds up over time. Your child has diapers and things for an extended period of time. All of that is so expensive. And, that puts a huge financial strain on families. It really can make it difficult just to get by every day. So we want to support you. We want to help you. We can find some grants and different financial assistance for you to support you along the way. And then most importantly, getting you connected with someone else, because, you can feel so isolated doing this journey all by yourself. You can feel like no one else understands, no one else gets it. But we do. We understand, we get it. We have staff that, very much understands the complexities of caring for a child, or even a child going through the transition process into adulthood, right? That has a disability. That's a whole other hurdle that we can really support you through that process. So please reach out and we can get you some education. We can get you the support, financial, anything you can imagine or need, we can help support you with that.
One-stop shop, man. This is cool.
Yeah.
All right.
we are. Yes. And we have a lot of partners in the community, and it really does take a village, right? It takes a village. And that is one of the things that, we pride ourselves in, is really being collaborative with our partners and making sure that we all support our community collectively. And we've managed to do that. And we're very proud of that.
That's awesome. Yeah, that's huge. I mean, I keep thinking back. I'm like, well, first of all, I just have to agree with vigor with what you said about the medical expenses. I mean,
daunting.
I've had about 15 surgeries overall over my 47 years on this planet, starting at 2 weeks old with my first brain surgery, and ending so far my last one, hopefully last one ever, was gallbladder surgery of all things in 22. Yeah. But my last brain surgery was in 2021, and the one I had to have two back to back in 2014, which landed me in the hospital for 3 weeks.
Yes.
I caught a glimpse of that hospital bill one time, and just the cost for the room was 10 grand a day for a hospital room. I thought, we live in Colorado Springs. We have a hotel here called the Broadmoor Hotel. I know it's pretty famous. People from around the country have heard of it. People come from all over the world to stay there. It's a really nice place. I could probably have stayed in the presidential suite at the Broadmoor for 10 grand a night and eaten much
Yes,
better food and probably slept in a much more comfortable bed.
yes.
But no, I was in a hospital for 10 grand a day. So
Yeah,
yes,
I
expenses.
also had
Yes.
a complicated gallbladder surgery where my
Oh,
immune system attacked my red blood cells beforehand. It's called ITP, another rare invisible thing. Didn't know was happening.
right.
Landed me in the hospital in the ICU for 5 days, and yes, that bill was.
Woo.
Thank goodness for out-of-pocket maxes because I don't know how I would have.
Right?
I don't know how I would have done it.
Seriously.
It was still a struggle just to pay that out-of-pocket max. But yes,
Unbelievable.
it is definitely, especially something unforeseen, unexpected. It can take a toll very quickly.
Mm.
One of the things, that I've kind of learned, one of the tricks of the trade, I guess you could say, is to contact the hospitals. They have like a financial department, or there are coordinators at the hospital that can help you if you do have one of those large bills. They can find grants for you that will help you with payment of those bills.
Yeah.
And so always reach out, always ask for those things at the hospitals if you find yourself in one of those situations, because there are grants out there for medical expenses, and there are people who want to help.
Yeah.
They want to help you make it through. They don't want this bill to sink you or your family. So don't, be too prideful and refuse the help. Take it. That is what it is there for. And utilize it, because,
Well,
things come up. And everyone
exactly.
needs help at some point or another.
Well, and one surgery that I had, one of those four lovely brain surgeries since 2014, we ended up with a bill that we're like, I have no idea where this is, and we've got a HSA
Yes.
account, that we put in every month for, and all that stuff. And even then, we're like, wow. And so we
Yeah.
reached out to the hospital. We're like, what can we do here? And that the hospital at the time had, I just call it their benevolence ministry. I don't think that's what they call it, but it was basically, they literally took one of our, I think the bill was like $3,700 or something like that. And they just wrote it off. We didn't
Yeah.
have it anymore. They just took it away. I was like, woo, I was like, wow, that was a weight off my chest, man. So
Yeah.
hospitals have those too. It's the billing department, there's the grants, but sometimes they can just write it off,
Yes,
Um,
absolutely. They do. They can write it off. And then the other thing is that, as I was saying, like, our foundation can help you find different grants. We have different organizations that we connect with. So for instance, we have an organization called Help Hope Live. They are a wonderful organization that can help you create a fundraiser for different things. So maybe you need a van that, will hold your child's wheelchair and all of the things that you need, all of your equipment, and they can help fundraise for that. If you need like a seizure alert dog, those kinds of things, they're really, really pricey. They're expensive for good reason, right? They can save your life, but they can help you develop a fundraising program that can make that happen in no time at all. So again, another reason to fill out that assistance request form, because we can get you connected with those organizations that can help with those things.
Love that. That's awesome. Yeah. It's so nice when there's organizations out there that just have like a clearinghouse of things that can help. And I love that. So there's another one I am dying to get on the show that in concept is very similar. And they've just you go to their website and it just blows your hair back. It's like, wow, look at all the stuff. So,
and a lot of times it is parents who have lived through this that start these foundations, and they have learned the hard way and want to pass that along. And that is so important. We have another organization as well called Sky Hope, or PALS, that flies patients from, the anywhere east of the Mississippi all the way to the East Coast, so that patients can get to the doctors that are the specialists, right? And especially in the rare disease community, you can't just go to your local hospital, even if they're, a wonderful, well-renowned hospital. They might not have that person researching the condition that your child has. So you need to get to that expert and utilize those services. But it's not cheap to fly across the country, stay in a hotel, get an Uber from the airport to the hospital. There are so many things to take into consideration, but Sky Hope does that. They have volunteer pilots that do that for free. They even have gift cards that can pay for that Uber to and from. They can do it all in the same day.
Nice.
And so that's the kind of thing that, a lot of people don't even know is out there that we can support you with. Staying at the
Right.
Ronald McDonald House if you have to stay overnight.
Yep.
They're in most major cities, which is where a lot of these hospitals with the researchers and the expert doctors are. There's usually a Ronald McDonald House somewhere around there. Utilize them. That's why they're there.
Yes.
And, we found some of our best community staying at the Ronald McDonald House. We
Love it.
really have
Yeah.
best treatment, best community. It's another wonderful, wonderful resource for families.
Yes, 100%. We've done, our kids were in 4-H for a long time, and they volunteered at the Ronald McDonald
Yeah.
House. We've done, so it's such a cool organization, and they're everywhere. So seek out those resources for sure. So, well, I'll tell you what, we are at a really good spot for a commercial break. So we're going to do that real quick. We're going to be just a minute or two. So stick around, though. We got more to the story. There's so much more to the story. So we'll be back with Kim in just a couple of minutes. And see you soon.
In a world where office workers typically receive 130 daily emails and have an 8-second attention span, CoreCentrica, with her 4 decades of international marketing experience, has partnered with the Learning Code Institute and their 30 years of neuroscientific research. Together, we are crafting unique messaging strategies that resonate, connect, and ultimately convert our target audiences. CoreCentrica, where award-winning creativity and disruptive neuroscience come together. Scan this code now, or call and click, and let us show you how CoreCentrica's partnership with the Learning Code Institute is influencing how businesses connect with their audience, foster engagement, and achieve conversions.
Hey, how you doing? My name is Greg Russell. I'm the host of TechnologyTuesday.com. You can find us on the Conscious Business TV network every Tuesday at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for the latest resources to help you make more money in your business. Join us on E360 TV. Come on.
Hey, everybody. Before we bring Kim back to tell more of her amazing story and tell us all about what she's doing here, I want to talk to you about Invisible Condition University, or ICU for short. ICU is something I wish I would have had about 10 years ago. So I've had 4 brain surgeries and 2 other related surgeries in the last 11 years or so. And when you're in the hospital, they're fantastic. Once you leave the hospital, in my experience, they forget your name, and they there's not a lot of continuing question and answer after that. And that's why my wife and I created ICU. We wanted to provide a place where other people like us, maybe like you, could come and find community that listens, that cares, that walks with you through whatever you're going through, no matter what it is. We meet on Zoom twice a month, and during those Zoom calls, we want patients. I'm the patient. Caregivers. My wife is an amazing caregiver, so we are both on the call. By the way, my wife and I are on the call every time together, and we want to provide a safe place for patients and their caregivers to ask questions, vent frustrations. Find information that maybe isn't being provided by the medical providers, or you're asking questions, you're not getting answers. Come join us. If you'd like to learn more or receive a free month of the membership, please go to myfreegiftfromjeff.com, scan the QR code, and I will see you on the next call, which is, I think I have it right here. There we go. Not December, February 4th. So come join us on February 4th and go to the website and you will get all the information you need. So, all right, now let's keep going here. All right, we're back. Thank you for being here, Kim. This is awesome. So tell us how you found how did you get connected with Child Neurology Foundation? What was the deal there?
Great question. So I had said previously, I was a teacher for 16 years, and I was an intervention specialist working with children in the classroom. But during that time, my daughter was diagnosed with cerebral palsy because there was no ICD-10 code for polymicrogyria or schizencephaly. And so, and she had right hemiparesis. And so they thought, that'll get insurance to be able to cover her condition. And so I wanted to find a way for her to get the best therapy that she could, but there were barriers there. My insurance at the time only covered 20 OT, 20 PT, and 20 speech visits per year, as if she had a car accident and just needed to recover. And through my research and joining different groups online on Facebook and talking to other families and connecting with them, I learned very quickly that intensive therapy was where you got the most bang for your buck. But I couldn't afford intensive therapy, meaning 5 days a week for a month or, multiple hours a day. I couldn't afford that. My insurance wouldn't cover that. And so I started looking into clinical trials. There was a clinical trial that was posted on one of the Facebook groups, and I called and inquired about it. It was regarding constraint-induced movement therapy, which, if you're not familiar with that, it's where they cast your non-affected side to force you to use your affected side. So in her case, they cast her left hand to force her to use her right side, and all in a play-like environment. So for her, she was little still. She was two and a half, I think, at the time. And so she was just happy if you were blowing bubbles and she was trying to pop them. It didn't matter, And so it was relatively not easy therapy. We were exhausted afterwards, but her therapist was one of the most amazing humans that I ever met. I learned so much in the process of being with her during that therapy 3 hours a day. That I then could take those things back home with me and do those activities with my daughter in a play-like environment. So it didn't feel like therapy. We weren't doing 5 repetitions of, something so many times, that felt like work to her. We were playing and being creative in how we could get her to use the right side of her body. We had done multiple clinical trials after that, became very close with her therapist, with some of the researchers. And they eventually recruited me to be on the parent council for their phase 3 clinical trial that she was the predecessor of, essentially, that she was in those trials that came before that one. It was an opportunity to be able to give insight into what it's like to be a parent of a child with this condition. What were the struggles that we experienced in those predecessor trials? How can we make this next trial better for families, more inviting? How could we have the therapists interact appropriately with the families?
Yes.
How could we communicate and disseminate the results of that study effectively to families when the trial was finished? And just from being on that trial, I made connections with different people. And one of the people that I got in contact with actually worked for the Child Neurology Foundation. And so I was able to meet up with her, have a conversation when my daughter was at another therapy down in the Carolinas. And I was able to kind of talk with her about, the work that's being done in the CP world and where do we want to see it go and how can we make it better? And just through that, building relationships with people. And so when the position came up with the Child Neurology Foundation, I thought, what a better way to be able to help families like mine on a bigger level, not just in my own community, but nationally, and share some of the tips and tricks too that I've learned along the way as a parent.
Yes.
And so it's been so rewarding, and I've met some incredible human beings along the way through the educational courses that we offer for families. We have one called Surviving to Thriving, where families they get connected with each other and learn how to cope with the day in and day out challenges of caring for a child with complex healthcare needs or even invisible conditions. Building that community is so very important. And we have shown actually an approximate 15% increase in mental health over a 6-week period taking that course, which is huge. And then we also, are able to train family support specialists as well, ambassadors for different organizations. And again, there's a 15% increase in their mental health as well, just from taking this course, and learning strategies and how to deal with all of that. So I've kind of expanded, I guess, now that I've, been at the foundation. Not only do I work on clinical trials, I serve on the AACP-DM Community Council as well, some FDA committees, and really just wherever our patient voice is needed and people are willing to hear it, I always offer up my time, because I feel like if I have the capacity and I can do that, let's do it. Let's move the needle. We have to have people that move the needle forward for families. And, along this time, there have been challenges. There have been times where I've had to step back from some of my roles and really focus on my daughter when she was going through some medical challenges. And I think that's fair. It's fair to step back and take care of yourself and your family when you need to, and when you have the capacity to open yourself up a little bit more. And so, I've been very, very blessed to be asked to be on some of these committees and serve as the patient voice, and also to listen to others who have experienced these challenges along the way.
100%. So what advice would you get? Like, somebody's coming to you right now and saying, I'm overwhelmed. I don't know what to do. Like, the parents navigating this nightmare cobweb system of everything.
Yes.
How would you go about talking to them to maintain that hope of there's got to be something out there?
You know what? That's a really great question. So there are a lot of things that I have done over time to really just maintain that hope, especially when you feel like there's no hope to be had. In some of those dark times, I'm never going to get an answer. I'm finding it challenging to get the doctors to listen to me when I really know something is wrong. One of the things that I always say is connect with other people. You have to connect with other people, with a community of people, because inevitably, as you connect through either Facebook groups or online communities, whatever that may be, maybe support groups, whatever it may be, you're going to find someone who is experiencing similar challenges that has a tip or a trick for you. So one of the best things ever that came to our community was CP soccer. And
nice.
I thought I knew a lot of things. I mean, I'm in this field, I hear a lot of different things. And then I went to CP soccer and I started listening to some of these families, and I went, wow, I've never heard of that resource in my own community. I mean, there are resources in your community that you don't even know about. And I feel like I'm a pretty good expert at the different resources that are available, but there are some things I had no idea existed in my community for us. Things that doctors or, social workers at the hospital never told us about, because we didn't have, we wouldn't have been able, they didn't think we'd be able to afford some of those things, like respite care, right? Our insurance wasn't going to cover it. We desperately needed it. And no one ever told us that there was a wonderful organization in our community that could assist us free of charge with respite care. And wow, what a blessing, right? Free for us. They can charge different ways and through different means. But, connecting with people and finding out about the resources in your own community is so valuable. And then also, sharing your difficulties and hearing what they've done before can make you feel like, wow, I had no idea someone else was dealing with these behaviors. One of the most untalked about things that we deal with would be harmful and disruptive behavior, right? Because it can come out of nowhere. It's embarrassing. You think you've done something wrong as a parent when really it's a mental health challenge, and it is not, the fault of the child. It's not your fault. It is a medical condition, and we need to treat it as such. And there are strategies and there are places that can help with those things. At our lowest point, when my daughter was admitted to Cincinnati Children's Psychiatric Care, she was admitted there for a month. And to get her medications under control, it was our lowest point, but I had people continually reaching out to check on us and make sure we were okay. And how did you navigate that? And then also, so you started medications. What did you do? I think we might have to do that because here are some of the things we are dealing with. How did you go about having that conversation? What doctor do you talk to? A psychiatrist, a neurologist? Who do you go to? And so connecting with people can really make you feel less isolated, less alone. Having that support, I think, during that time is what got us through. They were just because we weren't showing up to CP soccer practice didn't mean that there weren't people out there checking in on us. They were continually our community, our people that really cared about us and valued us. And even when my daughter was having a difficult time at practice, they would step in and be the mom for a second and give me a break. And she responded better, and so there's something invaluable about having those relationships and being by people who really, really get it. They really get it. It's just so incredibly important. So important.
Awesome. Yes. Oh my gosh. Yeah. The community coming around you, and it's so huge. Especially when you're dealing with difficult conditions that not everybody understands. Community is huge. The more help, the better. Good Lord, I think back at to when I was 2 weeks old and got that diagnosis that I was going to have brain surgery at 2 weeks old. And this is the condition that I was going to have for the rest of my life. I would have loved to be a fly on the wall to see what my parents did, what was their response, and how valuable a community could have been at that point to just come around them and be like, okay, we've dealt with this before. What do you need? And so this kind of thing is just so cool. It's awesome.
And there, taking the advice of your doctors early on is obviously so super important.
Yeah, for sure.
But doctors cannot be a jack of all trades. They cannot know every single condition. And with genetic testing becoming so widely available, there's so many rare conditions out there, and there are parents who are living it every single day. And you'll see your neurologist once every 6 months. So who's taking care of them in between? Who's supporting them in between? And the only thing that I think you can do in between is to connect with other people, to pick their brain in between. You're not going to call the doctor and be like, how do I help my child with hemiparesis potty train? You might ask them that at the time, but you're going to get, if you put that out there on, a CHASA Facebook group, you're going to get a million people who are responding, hey, we did this. Have you tried this step stool? Have you done this? And so there's something to be said about having a million people and their experiences all right there. Obviously, if someone's advising you on, medicine or that kind of thing, definitely check with your doctor. That's, hands down. But, it is really important to kind of get some ideas from people and really figure out what might work. And who is the doctor that is researching this condition, this rare condition, because maybe they have a research study going on. My daughter was, her 2 rare brain conditions are being studied by Boston Children's Hospital. So that's why we went there. I want her to be in those clinical trials. I want her to be in those studies because if treatments become available, I want to hear about it. I want to know about it, and be able to maybe take advantage of those things. Same thing if clinical trials are, coming up for non-medicine related things. I want to know and be able to support my daughter the best way that I can.
Awesome, man. And I actually, so this will maybe be for a discussion after the show, but I definitely want to ask you about something about Boston Children's, because that's, I have a feeling we have a mutual connection there. I want to ask you about that because that's, but I love that. I love that place. That's such a great hospital. So
it's a phenomenal hospital. And, I
yes.
live in Cincinnati. I'm from, we have doctors in Cincinnati Children's. They're great too. There's not a research study going on right now, to my knowledge, regarding my daughter's 2 rare brain conditions. And so, obviously our day in and our day out neurology appointments, or, every 6 month neurology appointments are going to be here at Cincinnati Children's. But to be able to get, her information into those clinical trials and with the doctors who are studying that, and maybe even reasons, why these things are happening, or just long-term treatments, it's so important, or if it could help them develop treatments, right? That's the other thing. We want to be able to assist the researchers, and, they're credible, they're reputable. I think probably one of the most underutilized resources that we have as a community is clinical trials. People just do not enroll in them. And I think that that's a huge problem, because we've got to make advances forward. And there's some wonderful, great things happening out there. Some great pharmaceutical companies that are really looking to advance gene editing, gene therapies, a variety of different medications that can help cure or alleviate many of the symptoms that our families and children are facing. And so we've got to help move that needle. We've got to help these companies make the progress that they can make. And they're willing to do it. They're willing to put those millions of dollars into researching these conditions so that our kids have cures and live better lives and have a better quality of life.
100%. Exactly. I love it. Yeah, man, I feel like we could keep going here, but we're going to stop real quick again for a commercial. And then we're going to come back, and there's going to be some cool stuff in the third segment here. We're going to hope. We're going to talk about hope in the third segment too. That's a big deal around here, right? So and then how you can get involved with Child Neurology Foundation, all the things. We're just going to keep going after the break here. So stick around, do not go anywhere, and we'll see you in just a minute.
Hi, I'm Jake, co-founder and CEO of One Hope. My friends and I started this company in 2007 out of the back of this truck on a mission to enrich people's lives through wine. Today, we've grown into a state-of-the-art Napa Valley winery that proudly houses a portfolio of award-winning wines which have touched lives through over 40,000 nonprofits at home and around the globe. And it's happening every day. Being rooted in local communities and contributing to initiatives that uplift neighborhoods, celebrate cultures, and promote community. It's what got us here. You see, through every bottle sold, your purchase can make a direct impact on the causes you care about. One Hope's cause of choice has given back over $10 million and counting.
Hey there. Every time someone comes into your business or website and uses their card to pay, a percentage of that gets folded back into the system. But it can go to Hydro with Hope instead. If you'd like your business to support us rather than feed back into the system, scan the QR code and we'll show you how to do that while saving your business money.
Hey friends, this is Ben Hummel. I'm the host of the Genius Way Show, where you'll learn to access your inner gifts, talents, and callings, and how to express them out in the world. Join me here each Sunday at noon Pacific time on the Achieve TV network, right here on E360 TV.
welcome back, everybody. We are winding down here a little bit. We got about 15 minutes left, but I I always ask every guest, well, almost every guest, a question that I always love the answer to. It's always very different, but it's always good. And especially with people with invisible conditions, I love this. This question is so important. During those hard days, during the times that you're like, oh my gosh, your hair is being pulled out every direction, how do you maintain hope?
It's a wonderful question. I think for me, it's focusing on the positive and really just looking to where I know we can be, right? So I always say, like, when my daughter was in the hospital, I would just sit there and imagine where I wanted to be in a year from now. And a year seems like a long time, but it goes by so fast. So in my mind, that's what I do. Another thing that I do consistently is I always just make the next right move for me and my family. So, and I learned this actually from one of our family support specialist trainers, Brad Thompson. He said, what can you do right now? What can you do right now? And maybe if your child is, on the ground having a seizure, maybe you breathe through it and just, make them as safe and comfortable as they can be. That's what you can do in that moment, And so every moment that's challenging, you take the next right step for you. And so if you're just looking at your life in just, seconds, what is the next second going to bring? What is the next right thing for me? And just break it up until you make it, 1 year away and you're in a better place, And I look back on a year from now and go, wow, we were surviving. We were just surviving. And now it feels more like thriving, right? But it has been years really since we've been in this place. And so it's good to know that, we didn't give up hope. We kept trying to make the next right move, the next right thing that what we thought was right in the moment. And I've got to say, I think that's never really led us in the wrong direction, thinking what is the next right thing right now. And maybe it is just walking out onto your front, lawn and just taking a breath or taking a second to just enjoy the sunshine or whatever it may be. And I know that sounds silly, but sometimes it's just about taking a breath.
Right.
And I think that's really, what's kind of gotten me through, and knowing too that, I found that community of support and that's so important. It's just, it is invaluable and something that, our family has built over time to surround ourselves with people that get it, that really get it. There are some people who don't get it and they might fade out of your life because they don't understand what it's like.
Right.
And that's okay. It's okay. We kind of have chapters or seasons in our life, and there's a special place for all of those people in that season. And sometimes we have to let that go and then enjoy the next season with the next people. And that's okay. It's okay to do that. So
totally. Somebody told me one time, they're either, everybody that comes into your life is either in there they're there for a season or they're there for a reason or both, and it's like, you just gotta, you can't be sad that they leave because maybe there's a reason they're leaving, it's not always forever,
they might not be the best person for you and your family at that time to be supportive, right? And that is okay. You can still love them from afar. You can still, keep up with them on Facebook or whatever it may be, Instagram or TikTok, whatever it is that people like.
Whatever you do.
But you can still leave space for the people that bring joy to your life in that moment or in that season. And that's okay. It's okay to do that.
100%. Yeah. And I had a guest on, goodness, it was way back we're in season 4 right now. It was later in our first season, back in, late in 2023. And it was an organization called Next Step. And Casey was one of the people that were on there. I want to actually introduce you to them because I think you'd get.
I know them. Yep.
You do know them. Perfect. Even better.
Yes.
Casey and
That's
Kep
right.
were on the show, and it was just awesome. And they said something during that episode that they said, a lot of people just cling to this. They say, I've survived 100% of my hard days so far, and
Yes.
like, just that is enough to hold on to keep you going through the day or through the week or through this next treatment or, so yeah.
Yeah. When my daughter was going inpatient, we delayed it for so long because we were scared of what that
Yeah.
would mean. But now that we've done it and we've been there,
Yeah.
it's not so scary. And I know I can do it again. Do I want to?
Of course.
No, I do not want to ever again. Neither does she. Right. But I know I can do it and I know I'll survive it. It will not break me. And so, sometimes just saying I can do hard things. I will get through this. I'm going to remember those happy times and those sad moments, and we're going to get back there again. But, right now, I'm just going to take one step forward and know that I can do it. So, the more hard things that you do, the more challenges that come your way. I think if you stick to that community and you get through those challenges, utilizing and leaning on the support of the people around you, you'll continue to make it through those hard times.
100%. Yep. That is, that's it, man. That's what we've had to do so many times. And I know you can relate. So for sure. But, man, I think we are out of time. I hate to say it, but it's the quickest hour of the day, I think. But we are here and we are at the end of the show. And I just want to thank you for being here and thank you for being so amazingly informative and open and honest about what you've gone through and what you've had to endure to get where you are now, because it's a big deal. And so thank you so much for being here.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Yes. If anyone has any questions, please feel free to reach out. I am an open book. I try to be that way because everyone needs to hear, someone else's experience, and we need to lean on each other in order to get through those hard times. So I'm here. If you need to reach out, please feel free. And for families who have, children with complex healthcare needs or going through the transition process or newly diagnosed, whichever end of the spectrum you're on, please reach out to us at childneurologyfoundation.org. You can fill out our family support assistance request form, and we would love to support and help you in your journey.
Perfect. Awesome. Thank you so much. Appreciate it, Kim. Thank you. Stick around. We'll chat after the show, but thank you so much for being here. Awesome.
Yes. Thank you.
All right. Okay, everybody. I'm going to leave that up there for about a couple more seconds here, but okay. Well, you can't even see. It's hard to see the address, so I'm going to take it down. If you want to contact Kim and you're watching on YouTube or Facebook, you can always comment and say, Kim, let's talk, or something, we'll be watching and we can reach out to you. So thank you so much for being here. Everybody that's been watching, we so appreciate you being here. And if you're brand new, thank you. Welcome. We're glad you're here. And if you've been watching since the beginning, thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Couldn't do this without you. And we're so appreciative. Please, if you're watching on Facebook, YouTube, E360, we're in a social media society, man. You know what to do. Like, follow, subscribe, share, all the things. If you have a particular episode that you love, share it. It's probably going to be somebody else's favorite too. So next show will round out January. Our next show is going to be on January 31st. And so please join us for that. And until then, have an amazing day, and we'll see you again very soon.